Welcome to Words from Your Mama. I'm your host, Simone. If you're a mom or maybe considering being a mom and you want some encouragement along the way, then this podcast is for you. On this podcast, I interview moms from every walk of life as they share their experiences. So thanks for listening.
I would say the love between a mother and her children is as unconditional as it gets.
On this episode, we have Tasha Blandingham. She is the mom that made this podcast happen. If she didn't volunteer to be on my podcast, I honestly was not going to do it. But she did, thank the Lord, and I'm so excited to have her in this season. So you guys are in for a real great episode, as this is 35 minutes long, and I hope you enjoy every minute of it and you get all the wisdom that Tasha has to share with you. Hi, Tasha. Why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Well, my name's Natasha. I was born and raised in St. Mary's County, Maryland. I am married with 3 young children. I have a daughter named Nia. She is 9 years old. She's the oldest. I have a son named Robert. He's 8 years old. And I have another son named Noah. He's 6 years old. I enjoy playing sports and spending time with my family. I have a great church that I attend. And I'm a registered nurse. I work at a local community hospital.
Huge accomplishment, huge. Well, let's get right on into these questions then. We will start off with, since you mentioned you're a registered nurse, I know that's a very chaotic and crazy life. What do you do to recharge? Like, what do you find the most relaxing?
So my husband just recently brought me a hammock. For my
Yes.
birthday, I asked for that. So it's outside in our backyard. So I go out there and lay on that, listen to some music, and just kind of relax.
Nice. Hammocks are so underappreciated. They're the best thing ever.
Yeah. And then another thing that seems like, I don't know, you probably wouldn't think it's recharging, but I like to clean my house. And put my music on and clean my house to kind of get me recharged
Yeah.
somehow.
It's like a
Yeah.
reset, so that works.
Yeah.
So since you're cleaning your house, what's your worst kitchen failure?
Not being organized. There is like I have everything organized, but not in like a way I really want it to be organized,
Yeah.
I would say.
Are
So
you
I just want to take
constantly rearranging things?
yes, and then I just want to take a day one time to just like organize like the pots and pans in one cabinet and just rearrange things how I want it to be.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's tough, especially with kids, because it's not just you putting things where you want them, it's the kids putting things where they want them, and then your husband putting things where he wants them.
Yeah.
That's frustrating. You'll get there. You'll get there.
Yeah.
So, what do you love the most about being a mom?
Um, I would say each of my children have their own individual personalities, their habits and tendencies and interests. I think it's fascinating to see how much of who they are and the things I can see in them that they get from me or from Bo. Um, I would say it has sent me back to my own childhood so many times, giving me a new understanding and appreciation for my parents' perspective during my own growing up. It's enlightened me to be able to see where my kids are coming from, but also seeing my parents and myself too.
Yeah,
I would say the love between a mother and her children is as unconditional as it gets. No matter how annoying they are, no matter how much I get on their nerves, the love we share is unshakable. Um, Also, I love being my kids' safe space. I
yeah,
love it when I'm able to calm my children simply with my presence or helping them cope and learn them to take care of themselves at times.
that's so good. I think that awareness alone, Tasha, is so powerful being their safe place. That is so awesome.
Another thing I love about being a mom is connecting with other women who share experiences. I always love my friendship with my other friends, bonding over motherhood. It adds like a whole new layer of depth to my relationship. It doesn't get any more real than falling on another mom's shoulder because you're exhausted and frustrated at times and stuff.
So then on the
Yeah.
converse of that, Tasha, what would be the hardest thing about being a mom?
I would say probably protecting my children. Like I'm always worried and feel overly protecting sometimes. Um, I get consumed with worry about like very unlikely scenarios, such as like my kids being abducted from school or the grocery store parking lot, or just things like that. And or if they one of them get hurt or something, both always like to chill when he's like, they're okay. Like, why are you worried all the time? Um, or just like my kids are not with me, like I just worry when they're not with me.
Yeah. Those are all very real fears. Like those aren't crazy outlandish things. Like those are very real fears.
And then also I will say like finding me time. When you're a mom, it's easy to put the needs of your children before your own.
Mm-hmm.
Um, However, if you don't make time for yourself, you'll eventually end up stressed out or wore down or unhealthy. Um, if you can't be good to yourself, you aren't going to be any kind of physical or mental shape to be good to your family.
Preach.
Um, yeah, so I enjoy going out and getting like manicure or panicure or a massage every now and then to get my me time in. Those are like the top hardest part, like always being protective and finding my me time.
So we kind of maybe already touched this, but what do you think is what has been the scariest moment for you as a mom?
I would say the time my son Robert, we also call him Bubba, as you know. He wasn't feeling good for a couple of days. He was complaining of some stomach pain, but it was kind of like on and off. He was still playing, so I just thought it was like a stomach bug or something. But like the last day of it, he was like in excruciating pain and he was just crying and screaming in pain like I never saw before. And it was like, oh my goodness. So I rushed him to the hospital. And on the way there, just like the sound of him crying and in pain was just like so, it just broke me. And I was like, I couldn't do nothing at the time but just get him to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
So we ended up getting him there and he ended up having appendicitis and he needed to have surgery. Um,
Wow.
so that was kind of scary for me. And they wanted to take him to Children's Hospital. So we ended up taking him there too. But just going through surgery, was just a whole experience I haven't had to deal with. And that was just scary for me. And it could have been a lot worse if I would like brush it off any longer.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was also in nursing school and we was learning about appendicitis at the time too, so it was crazy. Um, and like if you don't get, help you need in a timely manner, it could get really bad. So I'm just grateful that we was able to get him there and get it taken care of. But it was one of the scariest moments, I would say.
Yeah, because he couldn't even really tell you what it was. Like you just knew his stomach was hurting.
Yeah, I believe he was probably like maybe 4 or 5.
What has been your proudest moment as a mother?
Um, I would say is when my daughter Nia got baptized. Um, It was just a special moment to see her take a big step on her own and making that commitment on her own. We wasn't pressuring her to do it. She wanted to do it on her own, and just seeing her coming out of the water and being filled with Jesus' Spirit, I was just overwhelmed with joy. So I would say that was one of my proudest moments too.
Yeah, that was super awesome. I remember that time because it seemed like I felt like the church was kind of in a dry spot. And then I think all like the young girls just started getting on fire for God, like all the little kids. And then Nia got baptized. And I was like, yes, this is
Yeah.
great. It's an awesome time.
Yeah.
So, what 3 events most shaped your life?
Um, I would say giving my life to Jesus and turning my life around. Um, I mean, I could honestly say, like, if it hadn't have been for the Lord, I don't know where I would be. Um, I believe my life is blessed because I decided to follow Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
and not follow my own, say, desires or footsteps I was going towards. Um, and then I would say getting married and finding my husband. I feel like he's like the perfect guy for me. Like he's really my soulmate, and we kind of balance each other out.
Oh.
And, and he has always loved and supported me through the good and the bad. And then I would say giving birth to my children. It has taught me that I'm both vulnerable and stronger than I realized. And motherhood has tested me in every way. And I've been surprised to find that in some ways I'm not as assured as I used to be, but then in others, I'm so much stronger than I ever knew I could be. Being a mom has helped me learn more about myself than anything else I've ever done. So I would say those three things has shaped my life.
So, who is your role model and why?
I would say my mother, because she's like the strongest woman I know. She raised me and my brother by herself. She was also a single mother, and she was still able to reach her goals and provide for her family. She always provided guidance and support for me. Um, she inspired me to achieve my own dreams, and she reminds me of my worth, and she helped me stay motivated during tough times. Say she's my role model. Not that my mama.
So, did you
Mm.
have any family traditions growing up?
Um, I really gotta think hard about this one. All I can remember is like going around Christmas time, going to see the lights and all that they do down at Bubba Knott's farm
Mm-hmm.
there. So I can just remember doing that every year for Christmas. Mm, that's the only tradition I can really think of. I'm sure there's more, but
So,
that's all I got for that.
that's totally fine. How about some traditions you have now that you enjoy with your family?
So we started last year, actually, taking cruises around Christmas time, instead
Ooh.
of like getting a whole bunch of gifts that our kids play with for one day and then get back on their iPads or games or video games and don't ever play with them ever again.
Yeah.
So we decided to, not waste a lot of money on that and take cruises and make memories instead. And so last year we went on our first cruise as a family and we had a really good time. They really enjoyed it. And we're doing it again this year.
Yay!
So yeah, we're trying to make that a tradition.
That is so good
And
on so many levels because not only do y'all get to experience like different places, like you said, you get to make memories. Like that is just so great. That's such a great idea.
yeah, and then every year, this is our third year, we go to Ocean City. The kids love the ocean there. Um, Very overrated, but the kids love it. It's expensive for no reason, but we've been doing that for I think this was our third year going. So
It's
a
Ocean
couple of
City.
things.
You have to get the t-shirt. If you didn't get the t-shirt, you weren't there.
Yeah. We got a t-shirt.
So, do you have any regrets in life?
I don't have any regrets. I believe, everything happens for a reason. I believe everything happens for a reason, and the things I went through has only made me stronger and the woman I am today. Um, I think things that happen that one might consider to be a regret, or that was meant to destroy me, or things that I would regret, I think God turned it around for my good.
What is one thing you miss about being a kid?
I would say spending all the time in the world with my friends. Like I was always over my friend's house, specifically Michelle and her cousin Tahisha. Like I was always over their house. I would go with on family vacations with them as well. Um, so that's, and, now we are older and we have our own families. We barely get to spend time with each other.
Yeah.
So I would say that's one thing I miss about being a kid and just not having any cares in the world.
What is or what was one of your favorite vacations growing up?
I would say going to Virginia Beach. Have an aunt out there. Our whole family would go out there and stay at her house, and we would just go out there, have a good time, go to the beach, spend time with family, have cookouts, and we would meet new people in the neighborhood and make new friends there. So I think that was one of my favorite vacations growing up, going there.
Now, what is one of your favorite vacations now?
And one of my favorite vacations now would be, let's see. I mean, I like going to Ocean City still with the kids though. I love the ocean too myself.
Yes.
So I would say going to Ocean City every year. I do look forward to it, getting in the ocean. I'm like a big kid myself when it comes to it, riding the waves and stuff.
So, this one you may have to dig a little deep for, but what advice would you give your grandchildren?
Um, I would say, always put God first in everything you do. One thing, I would say have money of your own. I would say always have like funds for a rainy day.
Yes.
I would say be respectful and loving to everyone who comes into your life. I would also say never lose hope and never underestimate the power of prayers.
Amen.
I'd say choose a career you love. It will bring joy to do the work that you love. And love and respect yourself first. And everything happens for a reason, and God is in control.
Those are some, I think I counted 7. Those are like really good principles right there. Those were so good. And 7's the number of completion, so it's perfect.
All right. Boom, there it is.
So this one also maybe a little bit deep, but can you name one important lesson you learned in life? I know you've learned a lot of lessons in life, but like what's one that's really significant?
I would say don't give up. Nothing that's worth having is going to come easy. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it.
Yeah.
And I would say I learned that lesson most from going through nursing school because that was hard stuff. Um, so I would say like substantial and long-lasting achievement demands hard work, determination, and sacrifice. Um, Fulfilling careers and personal growth come from pushing through challenges and not taking shortcuts. So don't give up. Your day will come.
So good.
It's the most important lesson to me.
That's a really
Because
good
there's
lesson.
times that I really wanted to give up. So many times.
Yeah.
But I persevered through.
Yep. With God, all things are possible. This one, you don't have to dig deep for, but you kind of have to think a little outside of the box. List 3 words that describe your personality.
Um, I would say caring, loyal, and funny. And then I would add that other people would like to say that I'm quiet. But I am quiet, but when I'm around people, for a good amount of time, I open up and then sometimes you can't get me shut. So, but that was like the fourth one. But I would say caring, loving, and funny.
Yeah, I agree with those. I agree with those. So, what do you wish you
Mhm.
had more time for in life?
I would say reading. Um, I always enjoy reading books. I read a lot of books when I was younger, even through like my teenage years. I just love reading. But I just have no time. Like I can barely finish a book just with everything else going on in my life, work, children, church, husband, everything. Like I just don't have time to
Yeah.
read like I would love to. And then I would say spending time with like my relatives, like my sisters and brothers. Like everyone is just so busy, um, and have their own families and things going on in their lives. But I would just love to spend more time with family.
What do you wish you had wasted less time on?
I would say probably maybe partying back in my younger days. That was wasted time, probably.
Do you think that life now is easier or is it harder?
As compared to from
Before
like my young
motherhood.
before motherhood. Oh, I would say harder because um I didn't have to, not sound like a bad thing, but I didn't have to worry about, you know,
Mm-hmm.
getting food supplies, school clothes, babysitters, um, everything that comes with children. I didn't have to worry about before. Like I could just get up and go.
Yeah.
Um, so I would say harder, but it's not that harder that I have to like stress out about anything. Like it's not like really like a hard life. It just is what it is.
Yeah. Now, did you want to be a mom or did it just happen? You're like, oh, okay.
I would say I can remember in my like teenage years, like I did not want to have children and I didn't see myself getting married, to be honest. So it just kind of happened. So it's God's will
Yeah.
because it wasn't mine, but it's good.
So, this
Good.
question, it might be the same answer as a previous question. So, what were three of the best decisions you made in life?
Three best decisions I made in life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would say one, having my first child, two, having my second child, and three, having my third child. Like no, um, choosing to stay out of trouble, I would say. Going to nursing school and becoming RN, um, giving my life to Jesus, um, and having my children. I would say three best decisions.
You share a little bit about you and Bo, your parenting techniques. So, what or how, sorry, how did you decide, you and Bo decide on important principles to teach your family?
Um, so to be honest, we never really had that conversation until we were like raising our kids. And, to give some advice, I think it's an important topic to talk about before you get married and have kids and not when you're raising them. But the principles we teach our kids is to put God first. And then, and so when they get older, it's more so when they get older, we always teach them like, you want to give 10% to God first with your money.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you want to save 10%, and then you can choose to spend your money however else you need. Those are kind of some principles we teach our kids for like when they get older, and even now, like when they get money, like from family or something, we tell them to give 10% to God and save 10%. So we just want to put that principle in there for them to remember for when they get older and start practicing now, though,
Yeah, that's good. It
as
was
much as.
it kind of falls back on one of the previous answers you gave where you're talking about saving a penny for a rainy day and then obviously putting God first. This one's a little deeper too. What do you believe about yourself that helps you be successful and deal with hard times?
Um, I believe I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Um, I start each day with a daily affirmation to renew my mind and have a healthy mindset for the day. I say Things like I tell myself I matter, I'm important, I'm loved, and my presence on this earth makes a difference. So I feel like those things helps me to be successful. And when times get hard, just to remind myself, give myself affirmation.
Definitely, especially in your career. Like you're dealing with the public. Like people are so crazy anymore and they could just be so demeaning unintentionally, but still they can just be so just negative. So having those affirmations and those promises from God is so important and so powerful. I wonder what your day would be like if you didn't. Like if one morning you just woke up and you're like, "Oh, forgot to do my affirmation. I'm going to work."
Yeah, I have forgotten some days, and it's been crazy days. So yeah.
See, this one you've already tapped on, but we're going to ask it anyway. What are your goals as parents?
I just want to raise decent human beings, that follows Christ for the most part. That's
Yeah.
kind of my goal.
Looking back, what is one thing you are glad you did with your children?
Um, I would say raising them in the church. We have a good church, good people in the church that help, kind of like a church family, helps raise your kids, when they get dedicated, how he charges everyone in the church to be examples and things for your kids. So I think having that in the church, just having a relationship with my kids, having a relationship with Jesus in
Yeah.
the church. I wasn't raised in the church. Like I wasn't born into church. My kids were actually born in the church. Like I had my kids and they have been going to church ever since they were born. Like I wasn't raised that way. I got into church around 8 years old. So I just think that's one thing I'm glad I did with my kids. And I pray it stays with them throughout their life.
It most definitely will. It's what the Bible says.
But yep,
It won't depart.
you won't try to say. Hmm.
So, is there something you wish you were told at the beginning of your mothering journey?
Um, let's say that you will have a whole new perspective on the concept of time. Um, Time completely shifts and continues to fluctuate on a regular basis since I had kids. Some days feels unbearably long. The years go by fast. Um, Kids make enormous leaps in development in shocking short period of time. Um, Times I feel like I'm getting older, but feel younger, and then feel older, but then feel younger all at the same time. So I don't know. One thing I can think of.
That's good. I feel like no one tells you about time in life. Like people always say, "Oh, don't get old," like stuff like that, but no one ever actually is like, "Hey, value the time that you have. Like just cherish every moment."
Very good.
So, how do you prioritize your marriage with your husband and raising a family? I know oftentimes they can be grouped together as one. Like I'm raising my family, but you're still at the end of the day you're married to Bo. So, how do you prioritize your relationship with Bo and raising your family?
To be honest, that is still a struggle, and I'm still trying to figure that out.
Yeah,
But it's just a struggle. But I make time. I try to make time for everyone in the family. Make sure like me and Bo have our time. Go on date nights. And just have time for the kids. Trying to do like a schedule sometimes, where so I can just have make sure everybody's getting their time. You know.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, it's definitely a struggle at times. And there's just other things you got to throw in there too with prioritizing. You got work, marriage, family, church stuff, everything. Just prioritizing life can be hard sometimes.
yeah,
So you just take it one day at a time and figure it out.
yeah. That's all you can do. Because, like you were saying, time Like you, I feel like have got you yourself, Tasha, have got to be like the master of time management because not only do you have a full time job, you have 3 kids that you're raising that are involved in church, sports, academics. Your husband who's working a full time job. You got a beautiful little puppy.
Yeah.
You've got so much.
And I just went back to school to get my bachelor's degree, so that's another thing.
Oh my gosh. She's
Yeah.
unstoppable.
So,
That's awesome.
that's it.
So the bonus question I'm going to throw in now, since you just mentioned your bachelor's degree, um, what did you want to do when you like growing up? Like when I grow up, I'm going to be fill in the blank.
When I was younger, used to say I wanted to be a lawyer.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So
I
what
actually wanted to
changed
be
you to be a nurse?
um so so I didn't go to school for a lawyer. I went to school for paralegal studies. So I actually have a degree in paralegal studies also.
Wow.
Um so when I graduated though, I tried to find a job and like nobody would hire me because I didn't have any experience. Well, I just got out of school. I got to get experience.
Mm-hmm.
So I just I got a job doing a nursing assistant and for the time being, um hoping that I'll get like a paralegal job offer someday, one day. But so I picked up this job doing nursing assistant at Calvert Hospital and I just fell in love doing that work and I did that for let's see about 10 years until recently I got my RN. So
Wow.
yeah. So eventually so there's a thing called paralegal nursing. So I might put that together one day and do something along those lines.
Wow. That's insane.
Yeah.
That is so crazy. Do you like though like the legal system and like learning and doing all that stuff? Do you prefer that over nursing?
Um, it's been a long time since
Mm-hmm.
I had to like do anything with legal side stuff, but I still love legal stuff though. But I think nursing has definitely taken over my passion for that.
Yeah.
Um, but like I said, one day I plan to put the two together and see how that works out.
That's so exciting. That's so awesome, Tasha. Wow. So, our
Thank you.
last and final question. I know you mentioned you like to read books and you wish you had more time to read books, but are there any specific books or even Bible verses that may have helped you raise your family?
I would say a Bible verse that comes to mind is Joshua 24:15. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord.
Come on.
Um, yeah, so that one brings me down, help me raise my family, no matter what anybody else is doing or everyone else around us, what they got going on, we'll serve the Lord.
Amen. Amen. Well, that is going to be the last question in our interview today. Was there any last words of wisdom you wanted to leave our audience with?
The most important lesson that you learned in life is don't give up. So I think that really sticks out for me. Don't give up on your dreams. You could do all things through Christ.
That's so important. That's a really good. It's simple, it's basic, but it's so profound at the same time because you can find yourself, everyone, moms, people, anyone, just comparing to other people or just trying to measure up to someone else, and it's easy to give up because you're looking at yourself and you're like, I'm not anywhere near. I'm not going to be a paralegal nurse with 3 great kids and a husband. Like that's insane. But
Yeah.
you got to stay in your lane and know what you do best. Like I can't retain anything. So me trying to even attempt to be a nurse is ridiculous. But you're over there killing it because that's your lane. So it's a really good piece of advice or wisdom I think to leave people with.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Well, thank you for coming on. I'm so glad that you came on. And with that, we end season 1 of Words from Your Mama. I am so grateful for everyone that's supported this podcast, that's downloaded an episode, that's shared a Facebook post. You guys are absolutely amazing. We will be back in the new year, better than ever, with tons more moms, tons more episodes. So thanks for the support. You'll be hearing more from Words from Your Mama next year.